Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're live from our Calgary office for 4 strategies to boost employee engagement. My name is Garrett Genet. I'm the marketing manager here at Kudos, and I'm joined today by Tom Short, the president and co-founder of Kudos, who's going to be presenting for us. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much, Garrett. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We're excited to share 4 simple strategies. We'll just extend the definition here to boost employee engagement. We're hoping that with the items that we share with you today are things that you could potentially employ quickly and easily and cost effectively to help you boost employee engagement at your offices. And as we share ideas, if you do have anything that you're doing currently at your offices, that is working and you have found to be effective, please do feel free to share, and we can broadcast that out to the rest of the attendees as well. So here we go. So let's step into the first item. So, one of the things that we're often asked is, what is employee engagement? And although it's been around for a long time, there's a bunch of different definitions. And the best definition that I've seen is from a friend of mine, Kevin Cruz, who is a thought leader in the space and has written a couple of really great books. And as you can see on the screen, what he's defined employee engagement as is the emotional commitment an employee has to an organization and its goals, resulting in their individual discretionary effort. And what that really means is it's more about getting people pumped about your business, where they understand the purpose, the vision, and the mission and values of the organization and how their role contributes to that. One of the classic examples of that is the NASA story that you hear, where John F. Kennedy approached a janitor and asked the janitor what he was doing, and the janitor said, "I'm putting a man on the moon, sir." And that's the kind of area that you got to get that discretionary effort, where from the basement to the boardroom, people understand how they're contributing to the overall goals of the company. There's a couple of really great books that Kevin has written as well. One's called Employee Engagement 2.0, and the other one is called Employee Engagement for Everyone. And they're about the closest thing that I've seen that is in a simple, digestible 1 hour read that can literally act like a handbook for managers and an outline for employees as to what employee engagement is all about, the things that they need to do to help drive employee engagement, and even on an individual basis, what are the things that your company's doing for you that you should be appreciative of. We often thank people in person, and we often provide a lot of benefits and things to our staff and our team members, but sometimes it gets forgotten. And so one of the things that you need to do consistently is make sure that folks know what you're doing for them, communicate it to them, have little fun tests and discussions around them, because that will help you drive employee engagement. And so at the end of this, when you guys contact us, we'll send you a copy of the Employee Engagement 2.0. It's a quick little read. I think you'll really enjoy it. But at the essence of employee engagement, what are we trying to do? Why do people want to create more engagement at work? And this little timeline or example of what employee engagement does for companies, and I'm sure this is speaking to the preaching to the converted, and people know this, but when you create employee engagement and take the initiatives, do the initiatives that are necessary to get people leaning in a little bit more and to be more intrinsically motivated, you will get higher quality work. You'll get more productivity. You'll get more discretionary effort. You'll also get more engagement that leads to more retention. And retention and absenteeism even. And those are two of the easiest things you can actually measure to determine if your employee engagement initiatives are actually delivering a ROI for you. And then, of course, if you're taking care of your employees will take care of your clients. And if you take care of your clients, leads to more customer loyalty, which gets you to the end goal of having higher profits, growth, innovation, and many other key performance indicators you might want to be tracking. So it's a pretty simple strategy. Take care of your people, and your people will take care of you. And it can be done on a very low cost and efficient way, which we hope to share with you here as we take you through the presentation. We first became very enamored with the idea of employee engagement and the power of it when we read the book First Break All the Rules by Marcus Buckingham. And what they did in the first Break All the Rules book is they identified 12 essential elements at the Gallup organization that was the key differentiators when you looked at two organizations. They could both be very profitable and doing well, but one would always outperform the other. And when they looked at it in a greater span of industries and businesses size and everything else, it pretty well became true that the organizations that could get individuals to answer in the affirmative to these 12 key elements consistently outperformed their peer groups. And it all came down to things like understanding what you needed to do at work and what your role was, having the tools you need to do your job, creating a good work environment, being recognized on a regular basis, building personal connections where your boss cares about you personally and professionally to make sure that you're developing and contributing as an individual in both the professional life and personal life, and having the ability to know what's going on and aligning core values to your efforts. And it's really quite simple. And really, when we read this, we were really just trying to find a way to automate as much of that as possible through our product Kudos. And it really opened our eyes to so many different things that we could do, which we're going to talk about today, to have a really robust program that can work for everyone and it won't break the bank. So the four things that we're going to talk about today is the engagement opportunities around health and wellness, continuous learning, social recognition, and collective intelligence. And you'll see there at the bottom of all of those elements is a continuum of social communication. In the environment that we work today, and in the things that we do in our personal lives, social communication is the norm now. It's basically the ability to broadcast, share, comment, and collaborate in a social environment where anybody at any time can, reach out to an individual or a group and have a conversation and collaborate and communicate in ways that we really didn't do before. It was more of a one-to-one communication or a broadcast format of just using email. But now with tools like Slack and Yammer and Skype and a plethora of other tools, it's really changed the way we work. And especially when we're working with more remote team members, we have a larger millennial workforce coming into the workspace, and we're working with people globally. So tools like social communication tools in our personal and professional lives are really making a huge impact in how we get things done. But let's talk a little bit about the four elements that we're going to share with you today. The first one we're going to talk about is health and wellness. And so on the health and wellness front, everybody at every company usually has a pretty good benefits program and are doing things for their team members. But a lot of the time that gets forgotten. You use your benefits once in a while and you're not really sure what your benefits provide. And so one of the things that we recommend is back to that social communication feature, and that we see some of our clients doing that are exceptional at employee engagement, is they continuously communicate what they're doing for their team members through various collaboration tools or even through Kudos. And so they'll let them know what benefit programs they have in place, even if it's just highlighting some of the elements within their benefits package. And they might pick a theme of the month or do general outbound broadcasts or town hall meetings where they describe one element at a time to make sure everybody is aware of what the company is doing for them. And then there's other things that you can do, like creating groups and clubs where people can, based on common interest, get together and do things that would be, working towards a healthier workforce. Could be a walking club, which we do here at Kudos. It could be a running club or a yoga group that likes to go and do their thing in yoga. But it really is just about creating opportunities and providing ideas to your team members to get involved and to connect with one another, which brings us back to the Q12, where you have a best friend at work and you have things in common with others and you're doing things together to build stronger bonds with everybody. And then you can even do things like a step program with pedometers, and everyone or so many people now have Fitbits and other devices that track that type of a thing. And one of the other cooler things that we've seen in the last little while is new technology like IncentFit, which is an app that can be employed by an organization where you can use geofencing, which identifies all of the facilities that people might use, whether it's a gym or a yoga studio or just going for a walk around the building. And if they do these things, the system will automatically identify that. And in the IncentFit product, it will notify and keep track of those things for the administrators, but it can also incentivize by providing a subsidy or $2 bonus, micro bonus to help subsidize people going to the gym, just to give them that extra little bit of encouragement. But we even see it in our product Kudos, where people can volunteer information saying I went to the gym or I went for a walk, or somebody in a buddy system scenario, somebody could thank someone for going to the gym with them or going for a walk with them. And in those situations, they do become moments where you can recognize people for that participation. So those are really simple things that you can do, and some cool technology that you can employ to make it interesting and fun and accountable. So when you get into continuous learning, what we're talking about there is learning and development. And with a lot of folks out there, they might have learning and development opportunities for some folks in their organization and not others, depending on their role and responsibilities. But making it more equal and ubiquitous within the organization is a great idea. There's a 7-20-10 rule where 70% of your learning is on the job, 20% comes from interactions with others, and 10% comes from formal training. And it doesn't mean that you have to have very expensive workshops or send people off to various schools and universities to learn the things that you're hoping for. You can do a lot of learning on the job and use social communication tools and collaboration and create a mentor program where people can connect and communicate and get the details that they need. So it's not just about having a manager, but also setting up programs where you have a mentor. And then when you get into the 20% of the interaction elements, just by creating clubs and having events and going out and doing fun activities, whether it's just bowling with the team to any other type of interaction, those do create moments where people can share and learn from one another. But one of the things that we like seeing people do is to find items online where they can do a little bit more of self learning, and they can read daily and increase their knowledge, and then share those insights through social tools at work where they can refine their ideas as well as share their ideas with others. And then you can move to the more formal training where you might have workshops or professional associations or even various schools that people might do their thing and expand and grow their knowledge. And self improvement and skill development is one of the key drivers to employee engagement. People will even choose that over income in many scenarios. If they can, add talent and improve their position in life by improving their skills and their knowledge, so they become more valuable down the road, that's an incredible engagement and incentive tool. We've even done things like Lego Serious Play, which is awesome, and we're actually putting out a blog post on it coming out shortly. So stay tuned for that, where we actually played with Lego. But in the process of playing with Lego, we as a team were able to learn more about ourselves, more about our teammates, and truly learn more about collaboration in the process. And then there are products out there like lynda.com, which we also use, which is just a plethora of various learning modules in every possible vertical you could imagine, from customer service to sales to web development, where people can use a tool like that to again move forward in their careers and know that they're doing the things that they need to advance their careers. And of course, working with your team members by helping them map out a career path so they know how they can get to the next level and things that they need to do to get there is very empowering. So we recommend all of those types of items. And of course, as people complete these learning objectives or share things that they've learned, the best way to encourage them to continue to do those things in the future is to recognize them for that. So recognizing the behaviors that lead to success are far more important than just recognizing success itself. That brings us to social recognition. And in the social recognition space, it is all about recognizing the behaviors and not just specifically the results. And then using all of those recognition moments as teachable moments where everyone is empowered to be a keeper of your culture and they have the opportunity to appreciate or recognize anyone else in the organization. And that gives you incredible insights as to how people are connected and how people are contributing, and it directly can feed back into your other initiatives, whether it's learning and development or health and wellness. And again, it's just all about recognizing folks at the in the near real time for the things that they're doing that will lead to the key business outcomes that you're looking for. And it's all about just connecting, communicating, and celebrating what's important to your company, and in the process, reinforce core values along the way. And one of the most important things to note is that rewards aren't what really motivate people, but you can introduce rewards and fun factor elements to make it more competitive, and having contests and draws and micro benefits, similar to the incent fit concept of just, bonusing someone out $2 for going to the gym. It's not the reason they went to the gym, but it's just a nice reminder that your company does something nice for you to encourage you to take care of yourself. And then we have collective intelligence, and this is really a scenario that's pervasive in all of our lives today, whether it's using Facebook or Twitter or Instagram in our personal lives and business lives, or using tools like SharePoint, Slack, Yammer, or Skype in our business lives. And what you're really trying to do is empower everyone to connect and communicate and to collaborate at any time, to put all of that information out there so that people can contribute in a variety of ways, encouraging more transparency and trust where people feel safe to fail and safe to contribute, because sometimes in failure, you need to have a couple of failures before you can get to success, and anyone that isn't failing is not trying. And even in our episode of doing the serious Lego play, we were set with the task of each of us to build a duck. And all of us created some pretty ugly ducks, but once we started looking at each other's work and talking about how we went about it, we were able to create something that was really quite amazing, and learn a lot about one another at the same time. So through collaborative tools like Slack, you can really accelerate your business and connect folks throughout your various tools. But one of the most important things that you need to do, you can't leave things to chance or things to just to happen on their own. For true success, you need to put systems in place. You need to have processes and tools and systems to ensure that people have the opportunity to take advantage of the employee engagement initiatives that you're pursuing. A lot of folks will have manual initiatives and talk about different things, but then you'll have 100 different outcomes and 100 different ways to get things done. If you put in a process or a system, you can get more consistency and more accountability. And what that's all about is using a culture of recognition where you can use systems where you manage by creating structures and programs and processes, where you create a climate for success. And often you'll see in the old school way where rewards or incentives may have been used to encourage people to follow the rules. And really that's changing now to more social communication and recognition, where people are encouraged to use the tools that are available to them because of all the additional personal individual benefits that they provide. And so if you look at putting in proper process and structure, then you can focus more on what matters, which is the relationships, the connections, and the mentoring, which can get you to a culture that's systemic, that's pervasive throughout your entire organization. And then you can reinforce those things that matter most to you by using recognition as your primary way of reinforcing the things that you want to see more of. And so if you have a current reality where things are more manual, or maybe engagement isn't as high as you would like, you can work down a continuum of choose some engagement tactics that will work well for you, deploy them, learn from the interactions, make decisions on how you would change or modify those items, act on those items, and keep doing that in a repetitive fashion until you get to the outcomes that drive your business forward. And of course, with the proper systems in place and the proper leadership or culture in place, you can get to a sustainable engagement environment where you'll have continual success. And much like the Q12, you'll see an opportunity where you will be outperforming your peer groups and able to reach and achieve your corporate goals a lot easier. And the reason you're seeing these new tools coming into the market is that we're seeing a cultural shift out there. So in the just in the past decade, we had situations of more distant power where individuals were being managed and working as in a collective fashion where it was more about the company than the individual. And people were being motivated with extrinsic motivators such as compensation, job security, safety, things of that nature. But where things are going today, it's more about close power, where there really isn't that big of a differentiation between the intern and the CEO. They'll talk to one another, they'll tweet one another, they'll follow each other on Instagram or on Twitter. There'll be more interacting, where it's about mentoring and connecting and discussing items in a collaborative fashion. And it's moved from the collective, what's good for the company, to what's good for the individual, to individualism, where people are just as important as the company. If the people are advancing and growing and becoming more skilled at what they do and achieving their own personal goals, they will be in a better position to help the company achieve its collective goals. And that's when everything becomes a bit more intrinsic, where individuals not only have a good job and are working for a good company, but they're growing and developing as an individual, and you're reinforcing that growth in their positions through recognition and also sharing that with everyone else, so it becomes teachable moments. And really, it's about moving away from rewards and bonus systems and focusing too much on points. We're not into the game of tipping our individuals. We're not into the game of bribing our individuals. What people really want is to just be recognized, valued, and to contribute and to know their contributions matter. So recognition and communication amongst all those elements of collaborative systems to health and wellness programs is what's really important. And you can introduce rewards, but if you do introduce rewards, keep it casual, keep it on the low end, because you want to avoid entitlement traps where it becomes too expensive and you have to cut a program, and it can actually have the opposite effect that you're looking for. When you have to make changes that way, and you can do more with less, because it is all about just those connections we build as individuals with one another on a peer-to-peer level, and the connections we build with our managers and the people that can help us advance our careers. And that's where it becomes more of an interactive process versus a managing process. And in this particular slide, you can kind of see just how that comes into focus, where in the way that was things were originally pursued, where you were managing and it was top down, and you would pick the employee of the month and you would bonus people out for achieving certain things. It could be quite expensive, and it wasn't very fair, and and it was department specific, so it really didn't cover everybody in the organization. And where things are going today is it's more peer to peer and manager to peer, where it's all about the recognition and communication. And if you do introduce any kind of reward mechanism, it can be done at a very cost effective manner, and even to the point where you empower others to earn that money based on their actions, like going to the gym or going for a walk or just simply doing their job well and getting recognized by their peers, where they can accumulate a little bit of a reward. But it's a micro bonus, and it's not go to the beach money. It's just something that people can look at down the line and say, darn, I do work for a pretty cool company that cares about me. But what really matters to them is that connection and the recognition and the opportunity to learn and grow. And if individuals know the company cares about them, they'll of course care more about the company. So it's a more cost-effective, far-reaching, democratic way to go, and it's really something that's catching fire all around the world. And the reason it's catching fire around the world is that lots of studies show that if you survey your team members, a lot of people do like money. Of course, money is something that we all strive for, but it's not the only thing that we want. And so bonuses, came out to be about 20% of the audience thought that was the most important thing. Whereas if you go down the continuum, you know, 50% of the audience felt that ongoing recognition was the thing that they craved the most. So it's not just the research, but it's also in the findings, and we see people using our product where we're helping them move the ball forward. But it's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that you have to dedicate yourself to, hold your managers accountable to, and make sure you have leadership buy-in. And if you make that investment, the dividends that will come out of it down the road are far-reaching. It'll help all companies become better, and hopefully even help economies across the world just become better. And that's the simple truth of what people are looking for.